Thanks to our great sponsors, Madison County Emergency Management, the Madison County Library in Richmond and Berea, kymedia.net, and the Cain Pole in Southern Hills Plaza. Hey everybody, welcome to this special segment. I have Aaron Banther here from Farristown in Berea. And hey Aaron, thanks for the show.
Man, glad to be here.
All right. So I reached out and then we talked on Facebook a lot. You're really taking the Farristown thing and running with it. So it's all about more people finding out the community concerning Farristown. Give us a little background. What got you interested?
Well, I grew up in the community of Farristown.
Okay.
I'm originally from Berea, and I lived there with my grandmother.
Okay.
As long as I can remember. My family actually owned the land there since the early 1900s.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
I mean, I grew up.
So you're really connected.
I'm really connected.
Right. Okay.
But there's a lot of things that I don't know.
Right.
A lot of the history that happened there, the community, the original identity happened way before my time.
Sure.
Yeah. So I grew up there, and I went to Berea Community High School.
Okay.
Graduated in '96. I know I just told my age there.
That's okay.
But I left for the Navy in 1997. I always had an interest in history.
Sure. Right.
No matter if it's Black history,
right.
whatever culture.
No matter what. Right.
No matter what, I love history.
Okay.
And I was in the Navy, and I was on deployment. And we was on deployment in the Gulf. And there was a book that I have here. It was Black America Series, Berea, Madison County, written by Jackie Burnside.
Okay.
So I'm reading this book, and it has a lot of the Black heritage, the history of Berea and Madison County.
Right.
And I actually saw pictures of my family in there, my grandmother's in there, my great-grandmother's in there.
Very nice.
So that actually planted the seed. And I was on deployment on the ship. I was on the aircraft carrier reading this book, and it actually planted the seed to like, man, we need to have more of this on display.
Yes, I think so.
So I retired, and I was still living in Jacksonville at the time, and I didn't know if we was going to move back here or not. So we moved back 2 years ago when I actually got started in the preservation work, and just working with a lot of people, have a lot of support. So man, it's been really great. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I know some stuff just to be dangerous about Farristown, but then I noticed some things on Facebook popping up about Farristown, which led me to you, and I sent you a message. I said, hey, tell us about this Farristown thing. Give us a little history on Farristown.
Farristown, it started in the mid-1800s.
Okay.
Some people think it's been founded in 1835, 1820. But basically, Farristown is named after the Ferris families.
Right.
As far as back as anybody can remember, it was a man named Charlie Ferris and his brother Stephen that first occupied the area. And then there was another man named Henry Ferris who had the same last name, no blood relation.
All right.
And they helped a lot of African Americans after slavery own land.
Right.
Had land ownership and things. From that, it was just a striving community over the years. And not only that, it was also an interracial community. We know the history of Berea with John Fee.
Which is really cool.
Right, with John Fee and all that stuff. So that's pretty much a product of that. So a lot of African American farmers and white farmers work together.
Work together,
and
right.
sustain the community, and even through the Great Depression.
Wow.
So it was mainly a black community in its strive. We had our own general store, which is called the Baxter Store back in the days.
Okay.
And then you had the Great Migration, where a lot of people from the Deep South trying to get away from Jim Crow and all that stuff over time just left the community. So, yeah.
Oh, that's really neat. So what kind of square miles that we're talking about, what consisted of actual Farristown?
Well, the square miles, like if you are if you know where Farristown Middle School is at.
Yes.
That's when you actually kind of go into the community. If you drive there on Mellis Road, you'll see Farristown Baptist Church there on the left.
Yes, right.
And then we have the old wooden bridge, and all that is through Farristown. And also you have Chapel Road there on the right.
I've noticed that, yes.
Yeah, and that's actually where my family has their land as well. And then it ends right there kind of in White Station, which White Station's kind of connected to us too a lot. But yeah, that is pretty much the area of Farristown. Okay,
all right. So Farristown, because I noticed when Farristown was being built, the middle school, I kind of like, what is Farristown?
Right.
Where did they get that name? So that's what started piquing my interest
right.
when they started building the school. Like, what is Farristown? I know you have a new sign. Tell us about that and how that came about.
Oh, man, that's great. The sign is something that I was talking to Mayor Bruce Fraley about,
Right.
and I've had the city support on this as well. So I'm like, man, it would be a great to really show that identity. So we started the design back in January, and I actually reached out to a man named Jason Meeks, who is a local stonemason here in Berea.
Right. Okay.
And he actually instructs at the Job Corps in Farristown.
Okay. Cool.
So he said, well, it'd be really cool if when we get my students to actually do this. So I had some Job Corps students to actually help build the sign, but I had a guy from Danville, Kentucky design it.
Oh, okay. Neat.
So yeah, and then we got it done in about a week, and those kids really,
Well, they hustled.
they did.
Yeah.
And and God bless them. A lot of those kids got challenging backgrounds and things
absolutely.
like that.
Right.
But I told them about the background of Farristown and the community, and they just really got motivated.
See, I think that's great.
I thought it was great. I thought it was like a win-win
Yes,
for them
yes.
and us. So yeah, it's been great.
That's fantastic. So, Farristown plans. What's your ultimate goal? I know we talked a little bit before the studio shoot here. So what's your ultimate goal about Farristown?
Man, just to display more of the history of
Okay.
Farristown, and not just Farristown, but just the black heritage of
Sure,
Berea.
right.
And I know there's a lot of things going on here in Madison County as well. But just to get more of that stuff on display. I mean, if you never read this book by Jackie Burnside, if you never been through Farristown or known what it was, and you would never know. So we want to try to get that on display. There are plans of having a community center.
That's great. Yes.
Down in Farristown, and there's a place that we can kind of have all that black heritage,
Right,
like a
right.
cultural center. That is contingent up on the grant.
Sure.
But if the grant doesn't happen, if that's not in God's will, then we'll keep going. Maybe
Sure.
do a heritage trail. There's a lot of walking trails
That's great too. Yes.
in Berea, but just
Right.
to have some of that on display, and I think it'll be great, for the city of Berea as well as tourism.
Right.
And, if we do this thing right. So
Now, is there an official organization tied to Farristown?
actually, it's not. It's just
Okay.
me.
Okay. It's
I'm
just you.
just
You are the
hustle and bustle.
organization.
But I am.
As it grows, though, I see this developing into something huge.
It's really growing,
Okay.
and I am actually working on my community scholars program. I'm about to finish my requirements
Oh,
today,
nice.
just
Okay.
to get funding for the community.
Excellent.
Because we do other work too. Like
Sure.
we just restored have an old cemetery.
Oh, okay. I was
there
going to
as
ask
well.
about that. Right. Okay.
Yeah, so a group of descendants last March got together and we cleaned up the old Farristown cemetery.
That's great.
Right, and you can see like old stones of old slaves that were buried there. We have World War I, World War II veterans.
Oh, that's great.
That is
Okay.
buried there. We have color troops
Sure,
from the
sure.
Civil War
From the
that's
Civil War
buried
there,
there.
too.
So
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
so
Okay.
it's been great. So man, we do a lot, but I have a lot of organizations that have stepped up
Mm-hmm.
and has provided me mentorship to get funding
Sure.
and get support. So it's been a blessing. So,
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
So, is there an official? I know you had a Facebook group for Farristown. Is there a place for the general public to go to look? Is there an outlayer map of maybe where things were, or is that still in development?
That's really in development.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it isn't. But you can actually Google Farristown, and you
Okay.
can get some information on
Okay.
the community.
Great.
You will see Farristown Middle School, but you can see the outline of the map, and also talks about the founding of Farristown,
Okay.
and who founded it, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all we have right now. But hopefully, as it develops,
Okay.
maybe we can get a wiki page, and
That would
and
be
all
that would be
other
really
stuff.
neat.
So,
That'd be
yeah.
really neat. And
Yeah.
history is so great, especially for young people.
Yes,
They
absolutely.
can take it and run with it because it's so important to know about the past.
And that's why I'm doing it too.
Right.
I'm passionate about it because I
Right.
love history, and I think it just connects us to our roots. I do not do it just for me or just to
Sure.
get the glory.
Oh, sure.
But just knowing that my kids can look
Yes.
at that place and know where our roots came from.
Right,
I
right.
think that's very, very important.
Right,
for
and it's
us.
very important that it's really nice that it's in Madison County. Another jewel, I think, in Madison County
Oh,
for
yeah.
people to pay attention to Madison County.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Hey, Aaron, I just thought of another thing too.
Yeah.
Maybe you and I can go out at a later date, and maybe you can give us a little tour on site
I would love that.
of some great locations in Farristown.
Man, I would love that.
How about that? Wouldn't that be nice?
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to have to set it up. Aaron, thanks for coming in. For more
Thank you.
information, I guess just contact you on Facebook, correct?
Man, absolutely,
Okay.
man. I mean, you can find me, Aaron Banther, on
Okay.
Facebook.
All right.
You'll see my face there. And just,
Okay.
anybody's got any questions or there can be any assistance,
Right.
please, reach out
Or
to
any
me.
information.
Oh, yeah.
That you met. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Because
That's
there's a
great.
lot of things that I don't know that
Sure.
people
Oh,
in Madison
absolutely.
County do know about
Yeah.
this community. So
Okay.
the more I have, the better. So
That's great.
Yes,
Aaron,
sir.
thanks for coming in.
Thank you, man. I
All right.
appreciate it.
All right, folks. Thanks for watching. For more about Farristown, just Google it.
Thank you.